Dave, tell us more then about Michel Barnier's reaction to the latest round of so-called indicative votes.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Michel Barnier really spooked lawmakers here at the European Parliament when he told them that no-deal Brexit on the 12th of April, a disorderly Brexit, is now very likely. Now, when he was speaking, he did outline that Theresa May's withdrawal deal is the best and safest way to avoid that cliff-edge Brexit happening on the 12th of April. But he did say that a long-term extension could be possible. And so there are different scenarios in which that could happen. He was, of course, reacting to the failure of any of those four options, those indicative options, those indicative votes that took place last night in the UK Parliament, the fact that none of those were able to get a majority. But the EU has said that two of those options, or at least one of the options that was there last night, which is a customs union, and one of the options that was there last week, joining the EEA with Norway-type arrangements, would be compatible with the withdrawal deal on the table. In other words, if the UK Parliament was able to get a majority for either of those things, then the withdrawal deal can be passed. You only need a short extension of May 22nd. When it comes to a long-term extension, Barnier told the lawmakers this morning that there has to be something significant on the table. It has to be done for a good reason. It can't be done for no reason. And right now, talking to people here in Brussels, they can't really see anything that could rise above that bar in terms of a reason other than a second referendum or a general election. Now, it may be that the UK government is able to think of something else over the next week before that emergency summit takes place next Wednesday, the 10th of April, that could satisfy the EU that it's a good enough reason to grant that long-term extension. But people here are now really skeptical. I mean, the main message coming from Barnier this morning was that no-deal Brexit is coming, and the EU is prepared for it. The only one that can stop it is the UK. I think the EU is very keen right now not to be seen, if this does happen next week, not to be seen as the one that made no-deal Brexit happen.
So, Dave, Barnier said the EU is ready for a no-deal Brexit. How so?
Well, the EU is going to explain that to us over the coming days. They're going to hold a series of press conferences in certain sectors to tell us exactly what they've prepared for that no-deal scenario. So tomorrow they're going to tell us what they've prepared for customs. On Thursday, they're going to tell us what they've prepared in the realms of transport, health, and food safety, and on Friday for environment and fisheries. The EU has already passed a number of regulatory instruments and laws that would prepare for no-deal Brexit. Also, member states, particularly those countries whose economies are the closest to the UK, so Ireland, France, the Netherlands, they have also enacted national laws. But a lot of countries that don't have economies that are particularly intertwined with the UK haven't done anything. And a lot of people are now getting worried that that is where the problem is going to come in, that some of these smaller countries are countries that think their economies aren't so closely related and weren't getting prepared enough, will be in for a sudden shock next Friday. But the main message from the EU is that they have these preparations in place. How good are these preparations? We might not know until they have to be tested. There is a lot of skepticism here about whether the EU is as well prepared as it's saying. But I think one thing's for sure, the EU is better prepared for no deal than the UK. We really haven't been hearing kind of equivalent levels of preparation from the UK. Particularly over the past week, we just keep hearing warnings about what's going to happen or what could happen in the event of no deal, but we're really not getting a lot in the way of preparation.
All right, thank you very much.